Hey everybody, happy Sunday. Hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for jumping on. I don't do many live unannounced broadcasts anymore, but I have a little bit of time today, feeling good. And I've had a couple queries about the attempted assassination of President Trump at the National Correspondence dinner yesterday. And I've looked at other folks, what they're saying. But I do see one thing that I've noticed that no one else seems to have commented on. And there are a lot of anomalies. That is certainly true. And I can get into those. Other people are going over those. But I think one of the crucial anomalies that hasn't really been explained very well is how the Secret Service got J.D. Vance off the X faster than they got Trump off. And I think I have a good explanation for that. So, remember, I've done a lot of dignitary protection, senators, congressmen. I've done foreign presidents. Actually, that's how I got into all this originally, is I was bodyguarding people like Breitbart, Tammy Bruce, Sheriff Arpaio, Senator McCain. We didn't lose Breitbart, by the way. And that got me into eventually guesting, which then got me into speaking. So got a lot of experience in this. Have shot with the Secret Service because I'm a longtime DEA primary firearms instructor at Quantico, shot with the HMX Marines, and have done joint operations with all of them as well. In fact, last one I did was when Santorum was running, was doing dignitary protection of Santorum right alongside Secret Service guys. So just to start with the anomaly that Secret Service get the vice president, J.D. Vance, off the stage quicker than they get Trump off the stage is, I think I have a unique explanation, and that's because, I did this stuff. So if you look at the Secret Service special agents that get J.D. Vance off the stage, they are younger and more fit than the agents surrounding President Trump. And there's a reason for that, is because at details like this, the older, more senior group supervisors, assistant special agents in charge, ASACs, sometimes even SACs want to jump in. This is a high-profile correspondence event where you get to, put on your tuxedo and everything. And that's where the bosses often come in and say, oh, yeah, we'll do this one. And if you look at the Secret Service personnel around Trump, you'll notice that they are older and they are less fit. And that's probably what happened. This is very typical in the federal bureaucracy. I saw this many times. In fact, there's an old photo of me from U.S. News where I have seized 2,000 pounds of cocaine. Well, Border Patrol seized it. I got the case, and it was in U.S. News and everywhere. And all the bigwigs are sitting up front, and you can see me, off to the side. So it's very likely that the reason that Vance got off sooner is because his agents were more of the line agents, and the agents that came in to get Trump were more senior and older, and they just pulled rank to be at the dinner. So I don't know that's the case. That's just what I'm observing from what I'm seeing. From what I'm seeing, that fits. But, I could be wrong. So that's why I think. Now, as far as the performance goes of the Secret Service and the police officer security, I think it is fine. This does not look to me like a staged event. I have said before that Butler and the golf course with Ruthie certainly looked staged. Nobody is that incompetent, and the government was in on it. And I've made some very strong claims about that. I think I can back those up. But here, this does not look staged to me in regards to the performance of the Secret Service and the attendant security. So one thing you got to understand is the Secret Service has levels around them. So typically under a dignitary protection, you have at least 3 levels. That can be out in the parking lot, and then at the front, and then there's the tier 1 guys around POTUS, President of the United States, and Vice President of the United States. And those are the most experienced, most trained. That's kind of the star detail in the Secret Service, besides, counterfeiting. So to be on that, you got to be, one of the top guys, or you got to be a boss in charge of the top guys, which means hopefully you were one of the top guys back in the day. But the perimeter then are less experienced Secret Service, and also those are augmented and reinforced by local police. And in the DC area, this would be a very common practice for them to do that. So the inner circle dignitary protection of Secret Service right next to the president and the vice president are going to be much higher trained than the third or even the second tier out. So the shooter looks like he checked into the hotel, got the guns in. That would not be hard to do, and then rushed through security. And security looks like whether those were Secret Service, but again, they won't be tier 1 guys. They'll be newer guys, or those are augmented federal agents, sometimes other federal agents, marshals, lots of guys there's lots of feds. There's no shortage of feds in DC, or police as well. And a lot of the police in DC get extra training because they're so close to these agencies. So they develop rapport and they get slots in classes. But the reaction, reaction to the guy running through the security is reasonable. The time frame is not unreasonable for a tier 2 or tier 3 level response. The response of the one, either Secret Service agent or police officer or whatever he is telling, though, because the guy runs right past him and then he draws his weapon and fires. And that's fine. I think he fires 1 round, maybe 2. I think he takes a D. That's good. He's not trying to spray the room, spray and pray. But he's gone to his gun when he could have easily tackled the guy. The guy goes right past him. And so that would have been a better response. And that's why, if you can see me here, Secret Service used to see Secret Service like this. And you'll see my HMAC guys like this with their hands here, because you can either go to your waistband for your weapon or you can reach out and grab somebody. Now they're starting to put their hands on their jackets here. I like that less. But the reason is so that you can respond very quickly, however you need to respond. And grabbing with hands is faster than drawing a weapon. In fact, drawing a knife can be faster than drawing a pistol. But lower tier law enforcement, typically police officers, often think the gun is the answer. In fact, there's a major meme that I say, the gun isn't the answer, you are. The gun is a tool in a toolbox. But most police officers and lesser trained folks tend to think that the gun is the first answer when it is really the last resort answer. That is telling. And what that tells me is not that this guy was incompetent or did anything wrong, but that he just hasn't had that much training. So he's likely either local law enforcement or he's a lower tier Secret Service than the primary Secret Service. So that would be, but his reaction time is actually pretty superior, I think, for the guy running past him. I think firing shots, and he responds pretty quickly. But rather than firing, just tackling the guy would have been better. The Secret Service on the platform, I think, do a real good job. Vance is off the X right away, not like Butler, where he stayed on the X. That's one of the reasons why I had a big problem with Butler, is he just stayed on the X. And that just isn't like, there's ways that, especially when you have a couple of guys. Of course, there was the DEI female, DEI female there, and some of them were HSI or whatever. But there's techniques where you grab the belt buckle, you grab him behind the neck, and you're taking him. And if he's really heavy, like Trump, then there's two guys on each side with the belt buckle, or you can reach underneath in kind of a fireman's carry and grab him. But he's going off the X. The pause there, if you look at the video, is a lot of people don't recognize when gunshots go off. And they certainly don't recognize when gunshots go off inside. And people watch movies and they think it's like in the movies. It's not like in the movies. So people may not recognize a gunshot because going off inside a room because it is muffled. And that's why you see, I think, in the video, you see people reacting in the back of the room closer to the sound of the gunfire than you see up at the front and then up on the podium, because there's levels and waves of conversations happening there. And you've got to understand that. So I think that the response of the Secret Service is, the shots go off and Trump doesn't even respond initially, I believe. But the Secret Service come in pretty quick. Again, I think they're the older guys. I think they're the bosses because I think they took the choice assignment there because they get the dinner, they get to dress up, they get to get themselves photographed. And they're not used to doing this. They were at one time probably, but they aren't now. But even then, their time of determining what's going on is fine. There's nothing wrong because the decision they got to make is, do I want to keep him on here? Do I want to move him? Because in transit is when it's most dangerous. If there's another threat out back, then you got more problems. So they could just pile on him and keep him there. And I think he falls and they get on top of him pretty good. And then the CAT team, the uniform black counteraction team of Secret Service comes on out pretty quick and jumps in there, I think does an adequate job. They will have an Alamo someplace in the back where if they can't get to the beast, the car, that they'll shove him. Typically, that was often, for me, a bathroom back there, or sometimes a little office. So they had all that planned. But I don't see, as I saw at Butler, and as I read about the Secret Service response with Ruthie at the golf course, where the Secret Service guy misses completely, I don't see any performance tells that this was a setup there. So, of course, there's a lot of people are going to, get on me for this, but, that's nothing new. But I'm just giving you my honest opinion always. And since I had a little bit of free time today, my gals were out and about, I thought I'd jump on here and, I can try and see if this is coming up on Rumble. I don't know, and see if you guys have any questions. I can look on X. I don't see any comments on X. If you want to ask me anything, I'm not going to stay on long. And you can, certainly disagree with me on any of this. So let me see here. Yeah, I do see Russ Craig and a couple folks there. So if anybody's got any questions, feel free to ask them, put them in the comments real quick. But that's why I don't see this as a necessary setup from the side of the security. From what I see of the security from the Secret Service to the police officers, to the tier 2 and 3 augmentees, I think they perform admirably, as well they should. Whereas Butler and the golf course was very suspicious and did not make any sense to me, and is one of the reasons why I said that the government was in on it. I'm not saying the government is in on it. I'm just saying that from the point of view of looking at the security performance is adequate. I know there's other experts that are saying that's not true. And there are experts that are agreeing with me. But I'm just giving my opinion based upon my experience of what I'm seeing. Are there anomalies? Most certainly, there's anomalies. One of them is Trump did not attend the Correspondence dinner in 2016 because he was at war with the press. This is his first, as far as I know. And it is, and I don't believe in coincidences. It is certainly an anomaly that his first Correspondence dinner, there's an attempted assassination. Also, I don't know what the assassination attempts are for other presidents, but it sure seems like he's got a lot of them. And of course, I have problems with the previous two that I've already mentioned. There's also the anomaly of I think it's Fox News correspondent saying to somebody told her, sitting, hey, there's going to be something dangerous tonight. Watch yourself. And her mic is cut off. That is very suspicious as well. There's also the correspondent, might be Fox as well, who says before the dinner there's going to be shots fired. It does look like the suspect is wearing some kind of IDF shirt. I don't think that has been misproven yet. If it is, I will say that I was wrong about that and ask pardon. If I had to ascribe motive to this, it's funny, it's hilarious that Netanyahu has come out and said there's no place for political assassinations. I don't know how he can say that with a serious face. There's no, because that's all they do. At Masada, there's somebody there. David Owens, interesting. I think I'm holding off on jumping to conclusions. Yeah, I'm trying to hold off on jumping to conclusions as well. Really, I just wanted to point out something that I haven't seen anybody else talk about, is why the anomaly of Vance off the X before Trump, because of course POTUS should go first. And it seems to, what I see on stage, older Secret Service guys who are clearly special agents in charge, or assistant special agent, ASACs, SACs, group supervisors or whatever, jumping into that detail and then being a little slower because they're older and they're also out of practice as well. So I think that fits. I don't think anybody's said that. That's my main point that I'm bringing up. But, I could be wrong. Getting back to the other anomalies versus the performance. Again, don't see any problem with the performance of the security staff. It all looks legitimate to me. In reaction time, there is a reaction time for all of that. Reference some of the anomalies that may be involved. So there's my evaluation as a primary firearm instructor, as a tactics teacher for a long time, and as someone who has done dignitary protection, on senators and on foreign presidents, and done a lot of it and worked alongside Secret Service. The other piece, I guess, would be, thanks Lee for reposting the stream there, would be about the anomaly of the guy who's up there giving him a note. The guy is I guess a mind reader or some kind of magician, and so that's his act. So it wasn't like Trump was being handed a note or anything like that. Now, if I put on my special agent criminal investigator hat, does this look like a lone wolf attempt? Well, initially, yes, but I don't think we know enough information. We have to look and see if this IDF the shirt that he was wearing was legit. If there are connections, those will be forthcoming. If that IDF T-shirt photo is legit, then of course that is evidence going back to IDF, which goes back to Netanyahu and Greater Israel. And is there motivation for that then? And again, I'm talking from an investigator point of view. And the answer, I think, would be yes. And why now? Well, I have been recently praising President Trump. I was on with Ann Vandersteel guesting with her the other day, saying, yeah, I just want to point out to everybody that thinks I just hate Trump, the ever-Trumper cultists who you can't criticize Trump because he's the Messiah. Of course I can criticize him. He's my president. It's my right to criticize him. And when he impersonates Yeshua, Jesus, it's my duty as a Christian to criticize him. But I have been also praising him, not just for the tariff wars, countering China's unrestricted warfare doctrine of 20 years, not just for the cartel wars, which is the only way really to fight the cartels. And I certainly know about that as a longtime DEA agent. But because he is now being very hesitant and using great restraint to send ground troops into Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. And I and many other military experts and analysts have said that the amassing of troops, I mean, everybody's over there now, certainly looks like he's going to send in ground troops. And that would be a catastrophic loss of life for a mission that would not work. And I'm not the only one saying that, and I've talked a lot about that, so I'm not going to go over that on this little quick cast that I'm doing here on Sunday afternoon. But I have been praising President Trump for his restraint, because I think from Netanyahu and from Israel, who have something on him, whether it's the Epstein tapes or whether it's a small atomic demolition munition or two smuggled into the United States, or whether it's their threat to blow up, use nuclear munitions over there, whatever it is, I think he's under a lot of pressure to send American troops while no Israeli troops go into the ground in Iran. And I think that he is really reluctant to do that at this point, even though Hegseth keeps firing anybody. It looks like anybody who disagrees with Hegseth, he fires. So it looks like from the outside, could be incompetence, no shortage of incompetence up there, but that's what it looks like from an outsider. I'm certainly an outsider now, but regardless, with all the amassing of troops, all the efforts, and we certainly know what Netanyahu and the Greater Israel Likud crowd want, I think Trump is showing great restraint in putting ground troops in. And for example, I talked a lot about the 31st MEU Marine Expeditionary Unit on the USS Tripoli, which is the only amphibious landing ship without a well deck. That is, the hull is not open for water vehicles to go out and land the Marines in a typical beachhead fashion. And so they would have to go by air, either Osprey or Hilo. And that was the only one that made more sense. But still, it would still be, they don't control the air. So they're very vulnerable from those slow moving personnel transports. They can't hold their airhead very long, and their airhead could be shelled terribly. So, that was the only thing that might work if they got there and did some missiles briefly and then got out. Although again, helos in the air, they go down all the time. But even that he has not done. In fact, instead he had the 31st MEU seize, I think, an Iranian container ship. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. And I said, that's a great use of them. That's a limited use that they can do. But, going into Iran like that is a failure. So I think if this is not a lone wolf assassination attempt, and it does, in fact, tie back to Israel and the IDF shirt picture is legitimate, then the motive would be, hey, we told you that you needed to send troops in. And this then would tie back into my theory about Netanyahu giving Trump the golden pager. Remember when he gave Trump the golden pager after they had all those pagers that hit their enemy leaders and blew them up. So I think that was a veiled threat that, hey, either you play along or, your pager goes off as well. And if the IDF t-shirt is a legit connection back to Israel, then I think it makes sense that this is a goad telling Trump to get his butt in gear and get American ground troops on there. So if I present that, which is only a theory, it's just like as a criminal investigator, here's a theory of what's happening. I'm not saying it's happening, just saying it's a theory. Then what then will be the reaction? Well, now I'll put on my psychological operations officer hat and see if this will sway Trump. And the answer, I think, is no. So I go back put on my intelligence officer hat and go back to MICE, which is money, influence, coercion, and ego, which is a simple human intelligence template when you look at somebody. And I think that the C and E, the coercion and ego, are the two that were used against Trump very effectively. So ego, and I don't know about the Epstein stuff. I'm kind of doubtful of what I've seen of Epstein allegations about him based upon behavior. Not that he's a saint or a good guy, but just based on the Epstein stuff. But I think the ego part of it is the Torah crown, is the coins, that he's a political messiah in Israel, his kowtowing to whatever Netanyahu wants, whatever Israel wants, his reading, Chronicles, picking Chronicles. I think all of those are confirmation of my theory there. Whatever the coercion is, again, could be small atomic demolition munitions spread out to the United States, could be the threat to the Samson option to nuke Iran or whatever. Don't know what it is, but there's obviously, I think, some kind of coercion, but they don't want to use the coercion. That's the interesting thing. If this is really what's happening, which again, I'm just presenting a theory here, like any criminal investigator would do. So the pressure then goes on with the assassination attempt. And so then would that then work? And my answer would be no. The ego praising him, making him like a messiah in Israel, telling him how great he is, that has worked really well. He's got a big ego, no doubt about it. He wants his name on everything, everywhere. The threatening or outright violence against him, if he was unaware of it, is not going to work. He's a counterpuncher. He certainly reacts back. But have we seen Israel do stuff like this before in America? Yeah. And the perfect example is the assassination of Khamenei originally. So, that was one of the first things that happened. And I don't know who advised him of that. But if I had been in a position to advise him, the last thing I would have said to do is to kill their religious leader, their elder, a guy who already had cancer, that most young Iranians probably didn't even care about or even like much. But then you come and kill this old spiritual leader, and so you solidify resistance against you. I think Israel certainly may have understood that and advised that. I don't think Trump understood that and given him the benefit of the doubt. And I think people who said opposite of that were probably silenced or removed in his Constellation intelligence support staff. But I would have said, whatever we're going to do here, don't kill Khamenei. because it's just going to solidify resistance. And then every time with this ridiculous statement of Netanyahu against the political, coming out and saying, I'm against violence against political leaders. That's all they do is kill the opposition. They killed the Iranian diplomats while they were trying to talk. I mean, it's just ludicrous. But every time they do that, Iranian, which is a very sophisticated country, not like Afghanistan, resistance solidifies, where people like, well, we didn't really like that guy, or we didn't really care about that guy, but you keep killing our people. And they're fellow Iranians. And so that builds resistance. It's just like all the bombing that's going on. Trump doesn't understand that either. Everybody always thinks, we'll just bomb them into submission. You hear this from Hitler to Trump, bomb them into submission. Bombing never works except for nuclear bombing. That's the only time it's ever worked. The rest of the time, it builds resistance because you lose electricity, you lose water, people become more dependent upon each other. They have to get tribal. They have to work together, and you build resistance. So it is likely that this is what Israel wanted, because this whole Iran thing is in favor of the Greater Israel. It has nothing to do with American interests. But it is also likely that America has not understood that. Trump has not understood that. Kent is out. Gabbard, I don't think anybody's listened to her, unfortunately, because I think Kent was great and Gabbard is doing a good job as well. But I hope all that makes sense. So, that's my take. I don't see really any more questions, but I thought I'd put that out there, put that in the mix, because I haven't seen anybody else. I've seen some, very distinguished and experienced commentary from former Special Forces guys and former CIA guys, but I haven't seen anybody with the why was Trump slower to get off stage than Vance. And I think because of my inside explanation, that does make sense. So I'll be back on Tuesday. I'm not really necessarily going to talk about this a lot. And since I don't see any more questions, just wishing you, let me see here. David Owens, maybe it was an attempt to scare the president if Mossad wanted to. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was saying. Yes, David Owens. That is a possible theory, I think, as well. So anyway, unless you guys got something else to ask me about real quick, I'm not going to stay on. My gals are back. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Sunday, and I will see you guys with a special guest on Tuesday. And if whatever I find out in the meantime, I will let you know. And same thing, if you guys get stuff, let me know. If I have misspoken or if I have misassumed, then I will ask pardon of that as well. But I think what I've said makes sense and fits in all of these ways. So God bless, and have a blessed Sunday.